Hello there. This hour on Verbling, the next in my game series, which I do occasionally. This is Conditional Mysteries. Now, we've played this game before, but I'd like to start by telling you the rules of the game, refreshing your memory on conditionals, and then we'll get started with the actual first mystery. By the way, if you're out there listening and you cannot get in, this is important. Please turn off your pop-up blocker on the top right side of your screen, and that will allow you to get in. Please turn off pop-up blocker. So if you're having any trouble getting in, then just disable your pop-up blocker at the top right side of your URL bar in your browser. So I'm just going to say one more thing. If you cannot get into class. Okay? Daniel, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's see if Haki can get in, because I think that it's having some trouble today. Hello, Haki. Can you get in all right? Well, we're going to get started with or without Haki, but Haki, if you have any problems, just write in the chat window and I'll try to help you, okay? So we've got some other people joining us now. Hopefully everyone can see that. Okay, I'm going to skip my introduction because I think you know who I am, Daniel. Am I right? We know each other.
Yeah.
You've seen me before.
Yes, I can't see you right now. Now.
You can't see me, I know. But you can. But my camera's off. How do you see me?
We can. Yes.
You see my graphic there. You don't see me, do you? Okay, and let's say load
your presentation.
There we go. I'm going to open the notes as well. By the way, here in the Haki is only listening. Okay, fine. Look, let me give you our conditional mystery material. It's going to say notes, and I'm going to paste that right now for you to open, and then I'll share my screen with you as well. There you go. You see that link, Raphael? Hello, Raphael, are you there? Oh, you're very, very quiet. I can barely hear you, Raphael. Can you turn up your microphone, or can you get closer to your microphone? Ah, okay. You've got to be quiet. Ah, okay. All right. Well, it's a little hard to hear you, but I'll try to keep the classroom quiet so that we can do this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first share my screen with you right here. So all of you should be able to see the graphic for conditional mysteries. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Fantastic. If you open that document, you can download it, or you can open it in your computer to see it bigger. On the second page, you have my contact, and then you have table of contents. So let's start with what a conditional is. In order to play this game, you have to know what I mean by a conditional sentence. If you click on that link, it takes you to page... Oh, I don't have page numbers. Let me put in the page numbers. Insert page number on the top. Page 3. It takes you to page 3. Okay, there is a little graphic to help you remember what a conditional is. we've got two types, real and unreal. And those two types can be divided into two more types. So there are two real conditionals and there are two unreal conditionals. And if you scroll down a little bit, you can see the formula for all the conditional sentences, real and unreal, really real and really unreal. And you'll see in my graphic here that I also assign numbers because in a grammar book, these conditionals are called by their number rather than called real and unreal. So the real conditional is called the first conditional. The really real is called the zero. Okay, that's the formula. Let's see what it really looks like. So, Daniel, if I use the real conditional, and the formula is if plus present plus will, and I'm talking about the future, a conditional in the future, can you think of an example of a conditional sentence in the first conditional, the real conditional?
Okay.
See if you can
If
just
I
invent one.
if I cook lunch,
If I cook lunch
I'll eat
right now,
it right now. I'll have it
soon.
soon.
So, I gave some examples before, but I'm going to erase those and use your examples. How about this one? If I get hungry, Daniel, I'll
Mhm.
cook lunch
Right.
for myself and everyone. How's that? Sound good?
Mhm.
That is a
Yes.
very good example of the real conditional. First conditional, real. Very good, very good. Who else is in the class? Just so Yuki and Raphael. Okay, very good. So Raphael, looking at our little graphic, real, unreal, I want you to take Daniel's conditional and I want you to put it into the second conditional, the unreal conditional. If plus past plus would. So take his sentence and see if you can transform it to the unreal conditional. Okay?
Okay. If I was hungry, I would cooking lunch for myself and everyone.
Good. If I was hungry, I would cook lunch for myself and everyone. And that is now the second conditional. That's what we call the unreal conditional. Do you know why? Because it's not really happening in the present. It's imaginary. You're not really going to cook lunch now. You're just imagining a situation where you might do it. Okay, we've got two more conditionals we need to see an example of before we play our game. Yuki, the really real conditional is also
Yes,
called the zero conditional.
zero conditional.
It
Eh,
means there is no modal verb in the sentence.
mhm. You mean the third conditional, yeah? No?
No, I mean the zero conditional on the one on the left side.
Okay. Okay. If I had been hungry,
No, no, that's on the
no,
right side. Look on the left side.
if if
Yeah, left side. Zero conditionals.
it's present. If I am hungry,
Good.
I'll
Nope, not I'll. There's zero
I'm
modal verbs.
if I'm
Zero.
hungry, I cook lunch for myself and everyone.
That's right. That is the zero conditional. That's right. So the zero conditional is what we use to talk about facts. For example, if you heat water, it boils, right? Sometimes we can
Mhm.
replace if by the word when or whenever. So Yuki, I'm going to change your sentence just a little bit. I'm going to change it to if, from if to whenever. Whenever I'm hungry, I cook lunch for myself and everyone. That means every time I'm hungry, I do this.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So the 0 is really real because it can happen. It's a true fact, basically. Well, it could be true or false, but it's a fact. So we got one more conditional we need to talk about, which is the third conditional. That is the really unreal conditional. That's when you take the unreal conditional and you move it backwards in time. And the formula is if past perfect plus would have. So Daniel, we're back to you. Can you give me the really unreal conditional of that sentence?
Mhm. Is I if I had got hungry,
If I had,
had got hungry,
I'm American, so I'm going to say had gotten,
gotten.
because
Okay.
but British English is had got.
Okay. I could have cooked lunch.
There you go. Oops, I spelled cooked wrong.
I-
If I had gotten hungry, I'd have cooked lunch for everyone and myself. That is exactly right. So that is third conditional, and it's really unreal because you took the unreal conditional and you exaggerated it. So it's not just unreal, it's really unreal. Does everyone understand the form of all four conditionals? Raphael, Daniel, Yuki, is the form pretty clear?
Yes, it's clear for me.
Clear for you? Raphael, clear?
For me, it's not clear.
For you, it's not clear?
No, because I think
Listen, hold on one second. Everyone, just mute your microphone for a second except Raphael because his volume is very, very low, so it's hard for me to understand. So say again, Raphael?
okay. Um, now can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay. Uh, I have a question
sure.
because I think that the last sentence
Uh-huh.
was the real, not unreal form.
It's what I'm calling the really unreal. Really unreal.
Yeah.
Let's take a look again. 1 second. I'm just going to get my name on the screen. Verbling teacher. There, now you know who I am. Let's take a quick look. 1 second. This last sentence here, the one in yellow, you mean? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. If I had gotten hungry, is that the past, present, or future?
Yeah.
Which? Past, present, or future?
This is a past.
Exactly, it's the past. I would have cooked lunch for myself. Now, does that refer to the past as well, Raphael? I
Yeah.
would have cooked. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So, if you talk about a condition that stays in the past,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Sorry. Yes.
that's it. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
completely impossible to be real. Completely impossible because you can't change the past. Is that
Yes, John.
clear?
Yes, John. It's clear. Thank you.
Okay, very good. So, we got the form, and I think we understand the function too. You're all pretty advanced, so I don't think it's a problem for you. If anyone out there is having trouble, okay, just write in the chat window, and I'll try to answer your questions. But what we're going to do now is play a little game. In Conditional Mysteries, we have an exercise to do, but I'll give that to you as a homework if you want to try it. In this game, you have a mystery. Some of the mysteries we've done are there. We played the mystery, we did the mystery of Romeo and Juliet. If you remember the goldfish, we had Bob, Carol, Ted, and Alice, the hangman and the puddle of water. These were some mysteries we've done in the past. Let me show you the last class mystery, so just to remind you of how we played the game. In the last class, our mystery was a woman came home with a bag of groceries. She got the mail. She walked into the house. On the way to the house, she went to the living room and looked at her husband, who had blown his brains out. Oh my God, why did he do that? She had blown his brains out with a shotgun, and then she continued to walk to the kitchen, put away the groceries, and she made dinner for the kids, and everyone was happy. Wait a second. Why didn't she react? So that's the mystery you had to find out in the last class. Why didn't she react? Now, I could only answer yes and no to your questions. So you had to ask strategic questions to try to get more information. So the first question that was asked, was it a joke? No, it wasn't. Was it the latest TV news instead of a real situation? No, it wasn't. It was real. As you ask the questions, I ask you, why did you ask? Guess what you're going to use? You're going to use a conditional. So if you said to me, hey, was it a joke? And I say, no, it wasn't. Why do you ask? You would say, because the person could have been playing an April Fool's joke. Like, for example, was it on the 1st of April? No, it wasn't. Why? Because if it had been on the 1st of April, it could have been an April Fool's joke. So that's where you get to practice your conditionals, explaining the reason behind your question. Let's go to today's mystery. Can everyone see it on the board? I'll put it in yellow.
Yes, I see.
Yes.
Okay, Yuki, read us today's mystery.
Today's mystery. A man is driving his car. He turns on the radio, listens for 5 minutes. Suddenly, he turns around, goes home, and shoots his wife.
Dun, dun, dun. What made him do this? So we're going to go around the room. We've only got 3 people. This could be a very fast game. I can only answer yes or no to your questions, but when I ask you why, you're going to use either the really unreal conditional or the unreal conditional. The really unreal conditional will tell me your reasons in the past. Well, if he had been running from the police, maybe he panicked because his wife knew information. That would be the really unreal. Or you could talk about the present, what's going on right now. Well, if he was crazy, he might go and shoot his wife. That's the second conditional. So if you're talking about the present, second conditional. If you're talking about the past, third conditional. And if you ever get confused, go back to the first page, or whatever page it is. No, page 3. Go back to the top of page 3, like you see here, and you can review the conditionals at any point, looking at the chart and looking at the examples below. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it. Yuki,
Yes.
first question goes to Yukino.
What made him do this? He could heard the news of his wife's affair
Ah,
with other man, with another one.
he could have
He could
heard.
have heard the news.
The news.
The
How-
radio news
right.
about his wife's affair.
Could have
with,
heard news on the
um,
radio
ah,
about his wife's affair. Wow. So remember, you've got to ask me that. That's your answer to why, which is fine. So if I ask why, you've got your answer. What's the yes and no question you want to know from me? What's the direct question I can say yes or no to?
yes.
So you have to ask me a yes or no question. I understand your reason.
Why? Yes, no.
Yeah. Did he? Can he? Would he?
Did he Did he hear something on the radio
Very good. Did he hear something on the radio? And the
at,
answer
at
is
that time? Hmm?
yes, he did.
He did.
Why? Why do you ask that? Because he could have heard news on the radio about his wife's affair. Okay, very, very good. 1 point for Yuki. Yuki almost guessed it.
Yeah.
Daniel,
Yeah.
you almost got it, Yuki. Daniel, question number 2 from Daniel. Turn on your microphone, Daniel. We can't hear you.
Okay. Was the newsreaders uh, I don't know what to say in English, lover of his wife?
Was the newsreader having an affair with the man's wife? No. No, he wasn't. Why do you ask, Daniel? Now remember, you can use the second or the third
Okay.
conditional to give your reason. Either one.
He could have told through the radio
Could have
about
you could have said through the
yes,
radio
through the radio
that
uh,
that what?
that he's in love.
He
He of
was in love,
love of
in love
with man's wife.
the man's wife. That is very sound reasoning, Daniel. I agree with you. Because when you listen to the news, they often talk about who they're having an affair with at the time. Walter Cronkite used to talk about women he picked up in a bar. I'm just kidding, Daniel. Raphael, we've got one yes and one no.
Oh,
Daniel, just mute your microphone for a second because I can't hear Raphael. Go
okay.
ahead, Raphael.
In this moment, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Um, uh, did some discussion
Did
before
it
before
did or was in your yes no question?
was some discussion before
Was there some fight? Not discussion, but fight.
okay
Was there some fight?
fact before listening radio.
Okay, before listening to the radio? That's a good question. Was there some kind of a fight? The answer is yes and no.
Hmm.
They'd been fighting a lot lately. That's all I'll say. They've been fighting a lot lately, but not necessarily today. Not necessarily today. So, yeah, they've been fighting a lot lately. Now, Raphael, if I ask why, you have to use either the second or the third conditional to give me a reason. Why do you ask about a fight, Raphael?
Okay. Why?
Now you have to use a conditional. If, whether, whenever.
Okay. If they could have fight
If they had a
had
fight,
a fight. Okay. Before.
uh
Um.
that's the condition. What's the result? If they had a fight before, what could, should, might happen next?
Um. But excuse me, John. But before the they listening the radio.
Yeah, you just have to complete your sentence. If they, you mean the man and his wife, if they had a fight before, earlier today,
Yes. Um,
he might, she would, they could. What's the
they
second
they
part?
they called. Uh, they called. Um, they called.
They could, they might, they should, they ought to. Any modal verb, whatever you prefer.
Okay. Uh, they called. Have have
They could have had. Have had what?
uh some a fight.
Well, we know that. You said it. If they had a fight before, if they had a fight, they could have had a fight? I don't understand.
Yes. They
How about this one? Raphael, let me help you. If they had a fight before, right, he might still be angry. Which
okay.
conditional am I using? Am I using the real or the unreal conditional here?
Unreal.
Exactly. I'm using the unreal conditional to talk about the present. That's exactly right. And Daniel, in yours, he could have said through the radio that he was in love with the man's wife. Which conditional is that? Is that the real, the unreal, or the really unreal? Daniel.
Unreal. Unreal, real.
Really unreal.
Really unreal.
Yeah, it's the, in other
Third
words,
conditional.
that's right. It's the third conditional. Very good. And Raphael, yours is the second conditional. Put that. And Yuki, which conditional did you use in your example, in your reasoning?
Uh, 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 here I used the second conditional.
Could have? Is that the second?
Third conditional.
Yeah, it's the third conditional because you have. That's right. So, Yuki gave a reason about the past. Daniel gave a reason about the past. Raphael gave his reason about the present by using the second conditional. That's it. Very good. So we still have just the three of you. We've got all these people watching and no one's coming into the class. What's that about? Come on, guys. Come on in. Okay, now it's the lightning round. Back to Yuki. Yuki, you were the closest so far. Did he hear something on the radio? Yes, he did. Something important.
Uh, yes, no question.
You're trying to get me to give you more information so you can solve the mystery.
Did he have some trouble with his wife?
Did he have some trouble with his wife? That's a good question.
Recently?
Yes, he had a lot of trouble, actually. Quite a lot of trouble. Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
If he
Oh, I'm going to give you a rule now, Yuki. I'm going to tell you the beginning of the conditional, and you have to finish the conditional. I'm going to tell you how to start. I want you to start with whenever instead of if.
Whenever,
Yeah.
zero conditional.
Exactly.
Whenever he is at home. Whenever
Yeah,
he's
good.
at home, he always he is always quarreling
Quarreling.
quarreling with his wife.
Exactly. Whenever he's at home, he's always quarreling with his wife. Or you could say, I think, I think whenever he's at home, he's always quarreling with his wife. And to that I'd say, that's exactly right. But that's not why he killed her. He's not crazy. He just quarrels a lot with his wife. Daniel, by the way, remember we only have 10 questions total. We've got to figure it out before the 10th question. Daniel, you're up. Daniel, are you there? Daniel, are you there?
Yes, yes,
Ah,
yes, yes. Okay. After hearing the radio, they began to have economic problems. Do they begin to have economic problems?
are you sure you mean do they begin?
Do they begin
Are
to
you
have
sure? Look at the modal verb. Look at the.
began
You're talking about.
begin
You're talking about the past that results in the present. The past connected to the present. So you can't start the sentence with
sorry
did.
did they did they
Did they? Okay,
began
continue.
began
Continue.
began
Began, or begun.
began the participle J
Spell it for me. B-E-G.
Began N.
Began? Uh-oh.
That's the
There's no
past.
began.
Sorry.
So anyway, it's the past. So it should be begin. It begins
Yes.
to have economic problems. And the answer is no. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They are rich as fish. They're happy, rich, healthy people. Why do you say that? What's your reasoning? Here, I want you to begin with if if they if they don't. What conditional do you have to use if I start with that sentence, Daniel? If they don't.
If they don't, the zero conditional.
Yeah, you could use the zero, or you could use the first. Both are possible right now.
The third.
You could the third, no. You couldn't use
No.
the third, not possible. Third would be if they had not, or if they hadn't done it, something. So you can use the first, or you can use the zero conditional to finish that sentence. So why do you ask about economic problems? And now you have to try to complete that conditional. If they don't, what?
Uh,
Use your imagination.
yes. If they invest their money on
If they don't invest, get it? They don't
yes,
invest their
if they
money.
invest, no, don't invest.
Oh, but I didn't give you that choice. I said if you don't. If they don't.
I don't have. I don't.
You don't have a choice.
Okay. Well,
If they don't, but you can say the same sentence. Look, if they don't
if
invest
they don't invest in
their money well, what might be the result in the future? Or what might be the result in the present?
they have problem.
If they don't invest their money well, let's do it in the first conditional. They'll
The,
always have fights with each
Mhm.
other. Always. There you go. That's a good example of the first conditional.
Okay.
We're up. So Daniel, we did you. We're up to Raphael. Raphael, we're back to you. Daniel, just mute your microphone because it's a little bit loud.
Okay.
Remember, think strategically. So far, Yuki has given us the best information because he asked the key question. Did he hear something on the radio? And he did. So that is the closest we've gotten to the truth so far. Keep that in mind, Raphael.
Okay. Did they eat some bad food?
They eat some bad food? That's got nothing to do with the radio, Raphael.
Uh,
The answer is no, they didn't. Why? Why do you ask that?
uh,
Look at this. I'm going to give you a second conditional. If they had. Start your sentence with if they had.
okay. If they had so a long conversation
If they had. Long conversation. Okay.
before listening a radio.
Had a long conversation before listening to the radio. Okay. What might happen?
Uh,
Now you have to follow it with could or would or should or might. Those are your key words that you can finish it up with. So
okay.
if they had a long conversation before listening to the radio, what's the result?
Okay. And would think in other people, other persons.
Who would think? They would think? He would think? She would think?
Think
Who? Who?
in other people, other
No,
persons.
but who's doing the thinking? He, she, or the couple?
Uh,
Who would think?
oh, they.
Ah, they would think. Ah, okay. They. I'm going to change would to might because it sounds more clear if I say if they had a long conversation before listening to the radio, they might look, Raphael, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to say they might have been
Okay, yes.
thinking,
Have been thinking,
yeah, about
have been
other
thinking
people,
in other people.
yeah, and therefore no one would have gotten hurt. I think I see your logic here. If they had a nice, long conversation before listening to the radio, they might have been thinking about other people or even other things, and therefore no one would have gotten hurt. Uh, I think that's true, Raphael, because I know what really happened. I think that's true. If they had had a really good conversation, a really open conversation that a married couple rarely has, then I think you're right. But people don't normally have this kind of conversation. So I think you might be onto something. Okay, Yuki, our last three questions are in the lightning round.
Uh,
I'm not going to ask you why. I just want the yes, no, or if you know the answer, you tell me the answer. So
I don't know the answer.
ask me a strategic question. Remember, you
Mm,
were the closest.
yes.
You asked the key question.
Mm,
Did they hear something on the radio?
mm, uh,
Why don't you guess what they heard on the radio?
what he mm, is uh, he did he did he heard did he heard.
Did he hear?
Did he hear? Did he hear something? Did he hear on the radio something connecting to his wife? I don't know. How to-
Yes, he
Yes,
did. Yes, he did. Indirectly. Yes, he
indirectly.
did.
Oh,
Indirectly, he did hear something. He did hear something.
directly.
Indirectly.
Why?
Yeah. Hmm. Daniel,
Yes. Did the radio say that she killed a relative of him?
did the radio uh
Say
did the radio like the news or something?
yes.
Did the radio program, there we go. Did the radio program mention her doing something to him? Can I ask it like that, Daniel?
She killed a relative of him.
That's very specific. Are you sure you want to ask that specific question?
No,
Okay.
no.
Did the radio program mention her killing a relative of his? Look how I have to use her and his in this sentence. It's the complement, Daniel. So I have to say not she, but her.
Okay.
Did the radio program mention her killing a relative of his? Absolutely
No.
not. Raphael.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here, Jan.
So
Uh,
we know the radio is important. That's the only hint I can give you. We
uh,
know the radio said something connected to his wife.
okay. Did did he insane?
Did he insane? You mean was he insane?
Oh, okay. Was he insane?
Was he insane? No. Yuki, last question.
Indirectly. Indirectly. Why
Ask about the type of program.
Oh, type of program, news, yeah, news program.
Is that a question?
Yeah. No.
Ask me as a question.
Uh, eh,
Was it
was it a reality show?
was it a reality show?
Reality show featuring on his wife?
Yes
Yes.
and no.
Oh,
Yes and no.
no.
It's because reality is TV. But sort of like a reality show. What do we've run out of questions, so now all we have left are our guesses. There's no more questions. Let me help you. We don't have reality shows on the radio that I know of. But what kind of shows do we have on the radio?
Documentary program.
On the radio? Documentary programs? Like what? Like nature documentaries on the radio? What do you mean?
No.
A serial.
Serials, okay, yeah, you can have radio dramas. It's possible. That's true. What else? What else could you have?
Interview program.
Obviously, you can have lots and lots and lots of interviews. So you've got some serial dramas like soap operas. You've got interviews. And there's one particular kind of radio show that's very popular, especially in
Throwing a prank.
What? Throw a what?
Throw a prank. A joke.
Oh, practical joke.
Yeah.
On the radio?
Just a disc jockey?
Yes. On the radio in Spain. Yes.
Oh, okay. Prank calling. Prank. That's it. I understand, Daniel. Prank. Prank
Prank.
calling. Yeah, 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 yeah.
P-R-A-N-K.
Got it. Prank calling. That's a good guess. Ask me about that, Daniel.
Okay.
Was it a
Mm,
was it a
was it a prank?
prank?
A radio prank?
A prank show? Was it a
Prank?
prank show?
What is a prank
No,
show?
no, it wasn't. It wasn't a prank show.
Okay.
But that's a really good guess. Very good guess.
Yeah.
There's one kind of radio show, particularly on the AM stations, particularly in the 1970s and early 80s, before the internet.
DJ show, disc jockey, just no,
No,
no.
because that goes back to the beginning of the radio. That goes back to the 1950s.
Asking question a person
To whom?
by
Asking
letter.
questions to whom? By
by letter.
or
Send a
By
letter.
or
by phone.
by
By phone.
phone.
Ah,
The most popular radio show ever is the call-in show.
According.
Caller number 2, you're on the line. You're speaking to
ah.
Bill Gates, and Bill Gates has to answer your questions.
Mhm.
So, I can't give you a bigger hint than that. Have you figured it out?
Yes,
What happened, Yuki?
I think disc jockey called his wife called to radio station, talked with disc jockey, and she said something something bad about his wife, her husband, something slander. No?
Yuki, I think that's a case of psychological projection. Is that something your wife would do to you? Would she call in and say bad things about you on the radio? Is that it, Yuki?
Maybe I made a mistake. just his wife opened her secret, her affair with someone. Maybe no.
Very close. Okay. Yuki, you're 50% there.
She's a big fan of this disc jockey, so she no, she just confessed her love.
She didn't confess anything. You're 50% there, but she didn't confess to anything. Daniel, Raphael, one more guess before I tell you the answer? She didn't confess anything.
She killed a cat.
She did not kill a cat. She did not kill a cat, Daniel. Raphael, one final guess before I tell you the answer?
She cheered up. Cheering up.
She cheered up.
Cheering up.
Raphael, one final guess before I tell you? Want to make one final guess?
No.
No? Jeez. No. All right. Okay, I'm going to tell you bit by bit, and as I tell you each little detail, you tell me if you can guess the next part. A man is driving his car. He turns on the radio and listens for 5 minutes. What does he hear, class? He hears
the radio program radio.
Call in.
He hears a call-in show. A call-in show. So a man is driving his car. He turns on the radio. He listens for 5 minutes to a call-in show.
A wife called.
No, no, the wife didn't call. The host of the show calls random people to win a prize. He calls random people to win a prize. Who do you think he calls first?
His wife.
He calls his wife.
His wife won the prize. Big money.
No.
No. Sorry.
The phone rings, and who do you think picks up the phone?
Wife. No.
Not his
Another
wife.
another
Another
man.
man! Daniel wins the cookie.
Mm.
Thanks,
So,
my dessert.
so our story now looks like this. Today's mystery. So we've just solved the mystery, Daniel. I'm going to rewrite it here in blue so you can see the mystery. 1 second here. Let me rewrite it with all the details we just discovered. A man is driving his car. He turns on the radio, listens for 5 minutes to a call-in
Colin show.
show, right? The host does what? The host
The host
does
call
what?
random
Call. Calls, right.
Or
Calls
calls
a random
random.
number,
Mm-hmm.
but the number turns out to be
His
whose
own
number? His
his
own
own number.
his own number. That's right. Someone picks up the phone. Who is it?
It sound like a
wife,
man.
his wife.
It sound like
It's
a man.
it's a man.
Hmm?
It's the postman.
Ah,
He answers
he's
the question and wins
A
the
shoot.
money. But suddenly, man, the driver, suddenly the driver turns around, goes home, and shoots his wife. And he and the postman split the money, and
it,
and
it's
live happily
unnatural.
ever after in Barbados. There you go. And that's our mystery. What do you think?
There are gays.
Apparently,
Uh,
maybe not. Maybe they just split the money. I don't know. But anyway, they're living happily ever after. Yes, I think okay, I'll get rid of that part. Okay, fine. He and the postman don't split the money. Fine. But suddenly the driver turns around, goes home, and shoots his wife and man.
uh,
And that's the mystery. The mystery. What's our mystery called? The mystery of the man and the radio. And there you go. And there you go. What do you think? Would you have guessed that?
I think there is no need to be for man to appear in this story. I mean the postman.
There's no reason for the postman.
Yes, just his wife
That's
might want the money, and after husband coming back home, they might have been a quarrel, and after that, husband shoot his wife. I think it would be simple.
it would be simpler, but that's not what happened. What happened was the man thought to himself, he thought, I don't think the postman belongs in my house. So I agree with you. The driver thought the same thing, Yuki. Why is the man
The
in my
postman
house?
but the postman has an affair with his wife. Yeah. Okay. Now I see.
So there was a purpose after
So
all.
first, my guess was correct. Yeah.
You had it from the beginning.
Yes.
You had it from your first question. I have to change the rules because we've got to do something to make it go a little faster. Because I think what's happening, maybe it's going too slow because no one followed up on your question. The key was, what did he hear on the radio? That was the key. What did he hear? And then you would say, oh, he heard his wife. And I would say, no. And then everyone's all confused and they have to think again. No. Did he hear a man? Yes. Was it the postman? Yes, it was. So
I
it's got to
see.
work like that. It's
The
got to work
fact
like that.
the fact that the postman have an affair with wife make husband angry, and that because he shoot her. Yeah,
Yes.
I see.
Okay. In today's conditional mystery class, we reviewed the conditionals. We also used yes and no questions. Uh, what conditionals do you use to speculate about the past
The
in this
third.
little chart? The third conditional. What conditionals can you use to speculate about the present? Or what conditional can you use to speculate about the present?
Uh, by the person.
Zero
Uh,
conditional.
About the present? The
Uh,
zero is possible. It's possible. There's a
First,
better answer, though. The second, not the first, the second. Because the second has the result in the present. Because would have is about the present,
yes.
right? The zero talks about the present, but in a general way, about all the time. What conditional speculates about the future?
First conditional.
The first conditional is right. So that's it. If you know those, basically those two conditionals, and you know how to change them, manipulate them, you've got the entire conditional system of English right there under your thumb, so to speak, easy to use. So hopefully this class helps a little bit with conditionals, hopefully. I can also give you some extra practice here. I could send it to you as a homework where you have to replace the mistakes with the right conditional. I was going to do it before, and I think I didn't send it to you, so I can do it today. That can be a little homework for you. Okay, thanks for playing. I hope that some of this was useful for you. A variety of question forms to help you with yes and no questions, a variety of conditionals to give reasons, and to practice all different ways of speculating with conditionals. See
Yes,
you
it's
next
clear
time.
now. Thank you.
See you next time on
bye.
Conditional Mysteries, whenever that will
Bye
be. I
bye.
don't know.
Take
Bye for
care.
now.
See you.
See you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.